Sunday afternoon. She held a Bible on one hand and her husband of 40 years on the other. Together, they walked hand in hand in a motion of thoughtfulness. He whispered something in her ear, and she smiled, and the sun hid behind the clouds. Dressed flamboyantly, exuding love, laughter, and cheerfulness. See, the thing about it is, these days you don't see a lot of love. When was the last time you saw wrinkled African black love? Divorce is not an option because we are all with God African type love. They sat across from me and I asked them a question, where did you two meet? They said, Africa. When was the last time you've been back? She said, we've never been back. We've never been able to go back. They held hands, and their fingers spoke of promises of, I will never let you go. I asked her, where did you two meet? They said again, Africa, but we've never been back. My heart cried for both of them, because the last time we sat and spoke was the very last time they were able to speak about Africa. They invited me to their homes and we sat having dinner. After the dinner, she said, you see, our African kids don't know how to love. And I asked her, why do you say that? She said, look at it. You don't belong here. And wherever you don't belong, you know you can't force yourself in it. And that's the very reason why you don't know your identity. She said, you may not ever belong. But if you find people that look just like you, people who are willing to be there for you, that's family. That's who you stick together with. She said, African children don't know how to love. I said, how could you say that? She responded and said, look around. You probably will never go back home. You probably will never meet your grandmother. You probably have never met your grandfather, will never meet your uncles, will never even set foot back in Africa again. I knew what she meant. I was hurt. Because to tell you the truth, every single day I wake up, I think about it. What she said still rings in my ears. Our children don't know how to love. Is it a crisis? Or are we just ignoring it? I asked, how do we make it even better? And the only answer she came up with was that the only expectation we should have of each other is to learn to love one another. And maybe our children might just learn to love one another. My name is Abe Nouk. I've come from Sudan, a country which is celebrating its independence this year, 5th. But of course, it's an independence that has gone down in flames and wars. And having arrived in Australia, you think about community and what that means. And it's very outstanding to see the Nigerian community really represent a harmonious event such as this. So I'm going to share with you a poem and I hope you find your way through it. See, I grew up in a household of 8 children. The best part about it, whenever something broke at home, I was innocent till proven guilty. There are 7 more suspects, but I'm the middle child, so guess who's always proven guilty by the jury of his peers? Yours truly. If we ever held parental meetings, mom would justify dad's absence. Children have a habit of learning to forgive. We did. In 1999, my mother made a decision, and in 2000, she executed. At around 3 a.m. one morning, we found ourselves packing suitcases that did not contain much, and we were jammed into a van. I wanted to stuff my childhood belongings and all of my friends into mine. Impossible, I know. I tried. Some things, regardless of how far back we stretch our arms to reach will always get left behind. I learned children learn to let go. We found ourselves in Cairo, a pretty decent temporary place considering we were refugees. Cairo was hot. Cairo was so hot, I got a permanent tan.
That's right.
People have political correctness out the way. Nothing could have prepared us for the odds. Sometimes it's not the challenges you face, it's whether you choose to follow through. Those with parachutes hesitate to fly, and those without take a leap of faith. My mother, she leaped. And she always talks about if you are not aiming for the stars, don't bother looking up. By the time we looked up, it was too late. On March 30th, 2004, we landed in Melbourne, Australia. And my brother and I walked into Hungry Jack's for the first time, and they had free refills. It was a long day. Because life as we knew it was never the same since. 8 siblings and a widowed mother. We are not the hero of the story, far from it. At the Australian Embassy in Cairo, Mum sought asylum on our behalf, and Australia valued my mother's efforts. It's the only reason I'm granted this platform and a home where my siblings and I could break things and we would never have to break up for survival. At the landing of a pen stroke, it's difficult to think that an Australian sealed my family's fate using a pen. So it's only fitting to take this moment and say, thank you, Australia. You have been very kind. And I know we still can to those who need it most. Because it takes courage to be kind, so how brave are we? It takes courage to be kind, so how brave are you? So the first time I ever recognized that I had an Australian certificate was when I went to the post office. And the lady at the post office said, we need your real birth certificate for your birthday. And I didn't know what she meant. So of course I went back home and asked Mom for my birth certificate. And she said, I don't know what it looks like, but here are a bunch of papers, look through them. So I'm flipping through the papers, and I'm one of 8 children. It says, my brother was born on the 1st of January. And all of my 8 siblings were born on the 1st of January. I was born on the 1st of January. Now I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but my dad couldn't have been that precise. Not sure if that was the right thing to say, but there it is. Thank you for laughing. And now that you know it, I was really born on the 1st of January, apparently. And I share with you that story because it leads into the next poem, and I'm going to leave you with this last piece. I hope you find your way through it. Regardless of what they tell you, of how many times they take the effort to remind you of who you are, you have the right to neglect that very title and whatever it is they choose to call you with. You are an individual, first and foremost. And secondly, you are just a human being as everybody else. But you've got to take the first step that makes you recognize not just how special you are, but how much you have the right to be who you want to be. You see, I've never ever understood what it meant to be given a title. So when I got my first passport and it says nationality Australian, I knew I had a responsibility, something that was much bigger than my core of existence. I finally recognized on a piece of paper that my own country couldn't do for me. And when you think about it, sometimes you have to make a decision to be the person that you have never been able to become. To take the first step in recognizing that those who vouch for you have an understanding of how much you mean to where you are at. And I knew this had to mean something. These days, we don't take nothing for granted. First time flashing. I ran out yelling at my brother to come see all the clean water going to waste. We were so naive. No one had explained to us that that was the toilet water. Ever since then, we've had no further answers except the ever paraphrased, that's the way it is. No further questions for no further answers. Once, my brother and I got so greedy, we smothered what looked like Nutella heavily on our pieces of toasted bread. Little did we know that Vegemite tasted like Vegemite. Today, whenever we see Vegemite, we cringe in horror. When the plane landed at Melbourne Airport, my brother looked over and asked, "Do you think they will take this away from us?" Knowing what he meant, we stepped off the plane wondering, how is this even real? And ever since then, there have been no further explanations, except the ever paraphrased, that's the way it is. No further questions for no further answers. We cry about it in our own secret ways, knowing we cannot change any of it if it were up to us. Because the odds to try them again, 99.999% of the time, we would not end up living in this country. That's just the way it is. Unfair as it sounds, the only consistency we ever knew was this thing called packing up and starting over, packing up and leaving to unpack. It got to a point where we, once and for all, left without packing. And today, we still don't believe we live in this country. It feels like one of those promises waiting to be broken. One of those dreams where someone waits for you just to wake up, just to say, you have been dreaming. From poverty to privilege, we take each day as it comes, dealing with guilt and gratitude and an overwhelming abundance of priceless freedom. My brother and I still talk. The other day at home, he asked, "You want to go flash the toilet?" We still marvel at all the fresh water, in this belief that we actually live in Australia. Maybe this might be it, but who's to say? But when you find where you are acknowledged, you might as well call that home. Happy 56th Nigeria's Independence Day. Thank you so much.